How about we get some work done today? I'm gonna be doing some design review. Lots of design review. And first I have to find the project that was being worked on. This renovation. It's under a different folder. Renovations. Alright. Hello. Alrighty. Thanks. Good morning, Sarah. I'm doing as well as I can. How are you doing? Oh, I got some early Christmas presents from relatives on the east. Traveling bugs with parents and sicknesses and all that fun stuff. So, oh, you know, I'm used to it. 2 kids in elementary school. No. I took it for the team, I guess. Yep. I did have to take my day on Monday because I couldn't even get out of bed. It was not fun. But you know, that's how it goes. Oh, it's just cold. It was one of those things where I couldn't breathe. It was pretty disgusting, so pretty sure no one wanted to be around me at that point. So how are you doing? Good. Yeah. Oh. have not sent him a reminder, no. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't pay that. They were kind of ready to do that. So I don't know if they just overlooked the original invoice or what.
Being a fool, being a clown, lost my way from up and down. And I know, yes, I know.
Okay. 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 Well, is that what you had in mind for right now? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So, no, nothing has changed. Um, well, I'll tell you what, when would be a good time for you? Okay, well let's try later this afternoon then, if that's okay with you. All right, we'll do that then. All right. Oh, appreciate it. See ya. Bye. Hey, Courtney. What all did Jerome?
I it wasn't a red line. I as well was those I didn't I had it worked in relevant.
Was it further instructions? I'm just getting an idea.
Yeah. So I should have asked, but I thought he probably wanted me to set it up.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. That's all. I just needed to know. I was looking to see because he wanted me to review it, so I just wanted to know what I'm supposed to be reviewing.
Okay.
Okay. Right? That's what this says, right? And maybe it is convenience bar. Convenience bar. Yeah, never mind. Oh my god. Hey, Courtney. When you got in there, I wanted to go over some stuff with you on the price renovation. Hey there.
Hey,
How's it going?
good.
All right. So I don't know really what the scope of this was, so I'm kind of going off just what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I don't know if he was all this stuff over here already done.
Yeah, he said that all that was done and not
Okay.
touch it.
So I don't know if were there already walls modeled in this area, and you had to remove them and stuff like that.
It was a bathroom where the ping pong table was.
Okay, so it's hard for me to know if that was a previous design or if that's stuff that's existing. And I don't know what he typically does for renovations. So I'll come back to kind of how I think this should be done in Revit, because I don't know if it applies to this at all. But I want you to be aware of how, when we do renovations here, I'd like for it to be done so that you can see that workflow. So all these red lines are basically just looking at what I saw. So I don't know how much of this was already here and how much of it you did. So you can either just say, hey, I didn't do that, or you can just take it as lessons for whatever. So a lot of these, there's some of these dimensions that are redundant. So like this one up here is dimensioning the same thing there, so we don't need that. Like this dimension here, these walls are dimensioned right there. So and those are kind of tough to see because you're thinking about, okay, I got to dimension this stuff on the inside and these are on the exterior. But it's, and dimensioning is an art. I mean, you kind of have to really have to have a good understanding of the project in order to get dimensioning to work really well. So I know when you come in on a project that you've never seen before, it's kind of tough to do, especially if there's already dimensions there and you're like, oh man. A couple things, just be consistent with where things are dimensioned. So there's a dimension here on the outside face of stud, which is correct for an exterior wall. But then when we come down here, this dimension is to the other face right here. So just be sure you catch things like that. Not too big of a deal. Like this dimension can go away because we already have a dimension here that we can pick up that wall from. just like in the Patriot Home projects, those walls that touch an exterior face, we can dimension on that string on the outside. So window, wall. Or if you want to, you could even go just window or just walls here, and then you can have another string underneath that does the windows.
Okay.
Kind of a personal preference, and you know what, if you know that the subcontractors have a hard time doing math,
Okay.
then you can give them the full dimension and then break it down into a one. But if you know your framers are competent, then you can just go ahead and do it this way, and they'll know they can do the math.
Okay.
I wasn't sure about the rolling doors because the red lines, this showed hinge door here, and I wasn't sure about this. So I wasn't sure if the rolling doors were something that you added or if it was something that you and Jerome had talked about. So
Well, I guess I kind of missed it on the linen, but he did want well, it seemed like he wanted a sliding door, a pocket door, but I couldn't do a pocket door because it wasn't a door. And then since I was trying to think, they wanted to put the ping pong table in the closet, so to have the barn door.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't. This one I think is okay, but I don't know. See, the what we have to consider is that, well, unless the track goes all the way across this wall, it shows that it stops here.
Kind of thinking.
See, the thing is I don't know where. I guess it's big enough to do that. I guess this is fine. The linen door, I think that probably goes to back to a hinge door.
Okay.
That one right there. Another thing that we probably want to consider on this elevation is whether or not we have, well, if the track's going across, then we definitely have a header across here, right? At a different height than the ceiling. So this ceiling is 9 foot high, and if this is an 8.0 door, then we have to have a header probably about 7 foot 8 or 8 foot, something like that.
Okay.
So that track can go across the top of it. So in the elevation, you might want to just show that there's a header or something right there.
Okay.
Some of these, it was just difficult to read. Like you can't really read this very well. I can tell that that's a 9, but it's hiding it. So just take a look, just nudge the 4 foot down. This one right here, you can't really read anything. So you just want to move the elevation up, and maybe you move the tag and the door tag and the room tag down a little bit. Same thing here, just kind of clean things up. Did Jerome say that this is a special linen closet, or
I just saw on the red line
that it was
a linen closet.
Okay, so it might be that that this doesn't really need the elevation treatment. It might just be that it's shelves and rods, but we'll leave it that way and see what he says.
Okay.
Same thing down here, so we can pick up this wall right here. When I didn't see any other dimensions on it, so I don't know if I might have missed something there. This one, redundant dimension from down here, so you can just get rid of that. But also, well, actually, they are dimensioned to the same thing, so you're good on that one. And I think that was it. Any questions about that sheet for red lines?
Not really.
You didn't do any of this stuff, right?
Did you say that to dimension this right here? The ping pong table?
Not the ping pong table. This is to the wall right here.
Oh, okay.
We missed this wall. There's nothing telling us what that depth is, and you can pick that up. This dimension string is fine, but you're right. It does kind of read on the ping pong table, right?
Okay.
So, and I don't know that we need a room tag for the ping pong table. Uh-oh.
I was thinking that, but
I think you just put TV room and you kind of put it over here, and then just label this as a ping pong table. I don't think we need to label this as a separate room. And I don't know if did you use room separation lines? Okay, yeah, you can just get rid of those. Because this will all just be one space. Overall, good job. I think it's just, like I keep saying, we're getting down into those smaller details. It looked like you picked everything up that he wanted you to do, so good job on that.
I do have a question. Usually on the renovations, are the dimensions off? Usually, like 1 floor.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on what's existing and what's new construction, and without knowing without me knowing what was already there, it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if this is a building that we designed previously and they're doing a renovation on, or if it's something where we went in and got measurements of everything, because it's a very detailed model for a renovation for just second floor, which tells me that we might have already modeled this in the past, and this is just a renovation on it. Without knowing that, it's hard for me to say, but yeah, when you do when you go out and you get field measurements, the measurements can be a little weird. And what I typically do for renovations is we will round to the nearest eighth of an inch and just document it as these are existing walls. So for the electrical, mostly good stuff. I don't know about the phone line, but if it were me, I would put it probably on the sides here, not next to the TV. I'd probably put it so, like, if we could have a table here where the phone station was sitting on it, and that way we're not walking up in front of everybody who's watching TV to answer the phone. The phone over there. Maybe even back in the corner or over by the bar even. The bar might be a good spot for a phone jack as well. We only need, the code on smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors is for living spaces. You need one inside the living space and also in the area outside the living space. So we might be able to get away with, and I don't even think we need one in this space because it's not a living, it's not a sleeping space. It's not a closed off sleeping space. So what we might even be able to do is have this one, and maybe even, now that I think about it, leave this one where it is and even get rid of this one, because this would technically be outside the sleeping space but also take care of if we need one in this space. I think that would work. So you can get rid of one of those. If this is going to be fan and light, let's go ahead and power the light off the light switch. So when you hit the light switch, even the fan light comes on, and then you have a fan switch for the fan. I don't know that we'll need a light in either of these closets right here, but we'll leave them and see what he says. Usually when a closet is shallow like that, you don't need an additional light because the light from the room can spill into it and give you enough light. The only time that you really need an extra light in there is if it's like a pantry and you need to be able to see what's going on in there. But I will say a good spot for a light might be maybe a can light, a small can light to accent that convenience bar right there. That maybe just has a switch right here. That might be a nice little touch to accent what's going on there. Now there's a window right there, so maybe not, but we'll see. So these lights in the bedroom. So one thing that you need to keep in mind for lighting is that as it gets closer to a wall, you start getting a bright spot. You see how close that light is to the wall. You see how much brighter it is under each one. So in a bedroom, you don't really want those hot spots on the wall. So it's better to try to move those away from the wall. And if you can try to get them to where they're about 4 foot, maybe 5 foot apart from each other. So kind of do like a 5 foot square and then center that on the fan, or even a 4 foot square and try to center that on the fan. And I don't know if it's pretty close. Okay, it looked like it might be a little off-centered, the fan. Usually what I do for a fan is I'll take, like, if this is the square of the room, I'll just draw a diagonal and I'll snap the center of that fan to the middle of that line. And then it's just a detail line, and then I just delete the detail line when I'm done, and it's like it never existed. But you can use that if you get that fan centered. You can use it as a reference for kind of placing the lights around. They can be a little bit closer to the fan because you want most of the light to be in the middle, but you want I mean, if you go look at, do you know what an IES file is?
No.
So for every type of light fixture, every luminaire, which is the light and the reflector and the housing, the luminaire is the entire thing. Okay. Manufacturers produce what's called an IES file. And what an IES file is it's a plan and elevation view of how much light the luminaire gives off. And most of them look, oh goodness, a little something like this, where they kind of cone out like that. So if you think about, if you put this really close to a wall right here, you get a lot of bright light here, and then it fades off as you get down. So if you move that wall further out to about where that cone kind of dies down a little bit, then you can, it really above 6-7 feet, it doesn't matter how bright that is, because most of the stuff we'll be looking for is on the ground or below, right? So you can move those further away from the wall so that the light at the bottom hits the wall and not up above where we're looking.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Let's see. We don't typically do. Did this stop working? Okay. We don't typically do lights in the showers like that unless it's like a tiled shower.
Okay.
So this is just. I mean, if you go look in your guest bathroom at home, it's just like a tub with a shower head. You'll see that there's not a light.
Yeah.
Over that, it's just one light in the bathroom. So we can.
I forgot to name it anyway as a waterproof light.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. And the only time you need to do that again is when it's a shower. If it's just above a bath, you don't need to do that. Okay. But I did actually just notice we do need to go ahead and put. We have a shower family, so go ahead and add that shower family. Okay. That's not on the electrical. It'll be on the actual floor plan. But I think I'm debating whether or not. Let's do this. Let's do a vent light. Okay, instead of just a fan, and keep the vent to exterior. Let's keep the switch, and instead of getting rid of that switch, let's do this. Right, so we'll have a fixture, a vent light in the bathroom on the ceiling, and that'll give you enough light for the shower, because this sconce probably won't be enough to let people shave their legs or shave their face or whatever they do in the shower that they need sufficient light for. So let's go ahead and do that. Put a vent light fixture in above the toilet right there, and then that way there'll be two lights in the bathroom. Everything else looked good. Yeah. Do you know what the code is for electrical outlets?
In the bathroom, I think I do. Oh, I completely forgot that it had to be certain amount.
You know,
just away from the window.
Not from the window. Nope. So there's a maximum distance for outlets away from each other.
Oh, okay.
And I want you to go see if you can find that
Okay.
and read through it and see if you can get a good understanding of it. Most of the time, if we just indicate that there's outlets in these areas, the electrical sub will say, okay, I know what these need to be, and we'll put them around the space so that they're spaced accordingly. And keep in mind also that when we put an appliance outlet up at the height, that counts for that distance as well.
Okay.
So, but I think everything else looked pretty good. Oh, we had one more sheet, didn't we? So I all this looked fine. Go in and put 8 foot or whatever. The header.
Okay.
Across the top there.
And that would just kind of be a line showing on the.
Yeah, and then soffit above. You might want to put a note on the floor plan that there's an 8-foot ceiling in that space.
Okay.
Or maybe the soffit just goes across the top and it's a 9-foot ceiling still. I'll let you use some design sense. You know, what do you want in there? So I think your options are. Do you want? You've got a window here. Here's your bar, right? And then your door is here. Rolling door. Okay, so the question is at 8 feet, which would be the same height as the door, do you want it to come back up to a 9-foot ceiling, or do you want it to come straight across? And then,
probably looks better
and then,
if it went back up to.
And then document that accordingly.
Okay.
If it's a soffit, then go ahead and draw that like that.
Okay.
And then
with that,
if it's an 8-foot
okay.
ceiling, then just draw a single line.
Okay.
Excuse me. Still a little disgusting, so I'm gonna be making disgusting noises for a little while.
I know.
So whatever you decide to do here, just if it's a 9-foot ceiling, then draw the 9-foot ceiling. You don't have to call it a 9-foot ceiling. Just be sure that line shows at 9 foot to show. Like we're not actually showing the ceiling on a lot of these.
So you want me to put the 9-foot ceiling, but not have the actual?
Yeah, just show. I'd say just show the line, and maybe just make sure that, like, if you go with an 8-foot ceiling, that it's not like right across the top of the window. So.
Okay.
Show ceiling. Sometimes this program, like, it won't show me that it draws something, and then it refreshes and I have like 3 times the thing written because I tried to write over it. Okay. All right. So any questions about red lines?
No, there's no more questions.
I want you to, if you were at a stopping point, I'll ask if you could go and take care of these, because he wants to show these to the owners this afternoon. But real quick, I just want to show you kind of the way that I would typically expect this to be done. So we have, I don't know, did he mention, like, is the second floor completely new? Is it all being added, or is there a second floor already there? He didn't say. So
I think it was already a second floor already there.
So in that case, normally what I would see is these second floor walls. They would be And I don't know what's going on
I
here.
don't know.
So
I was kind of
yeah, it was already there. So see, that one's existing. So I'm wondering if this stuff is being added on. But typically, what I would see is this stuff would. Oh, it looks like there is an existing window that's being deleted.
Oh no, it's
just
I
above.
actually added that.
Oh, you added that. Okay,
to the background.
that's fine. Be sure. So I'll show you how to deal with that too. So typically, what I would see is like these exterior walls would be placed on existing. Right, so they kind of what we want to do is we want to show the new stuff as it pops through, so you can really read that this is a new window in existing wall.
Okay. When
we do that, and what also could be done that way is if there is a wall that let's say you said there was like a bathroom right here.
Yeah.
We'll just why can't I? Okay, fine. I knew you were going to do that. Revit likes to connect things that I don't want connected. So let's say that there was, I'm just going to copy. Oh, it's not going to let me copy that. Let's just say all this stuff was existing already. Okay, what we can do is we can go through and just like this wall here was demolished, we can go through and use my favorite tool, the demolish tool, and because it's shaped like a hammer, and you can go through and you can demolish these things. Right, and they now show as demolished. And if I go and look at these objects, you can see it was created and existing, it was demolished in the new construction. Okay, so this gives us a way to track what's being removed in this phase. And typically what we would do is we would have a existing drawing that has the dimensions of the existing stuff just as a reference. And then we would have a demolition drawing, which just has the existing with the stuff that we're removing. And then we would have a new construction phase, which would look like, instead of show all, we would do show complete. So the walls are still there, but it knows that with this phase filter, we're only showing, and you can see that demolition wall disappeared also. So we could also set it to show demo and new. So now we've got just the new stuff and the demolished stuff as well. Okay. And they had it on show all. So when we get a renovation that we're doing here in this office, I'll want to be able to use the model to track those different phases. So in the case of this project, I don't know if those walls that were already there were actually existing or if they were from a previous design, but you'll want to check with Jerome and see and ask him, hey, were those walls that were already there existing in the house, or was that a design that we're not doing with the bedrooms? Because I think it showed that there was like bedrooms and bathrooms, but it all says new. It says new den, new bath. So I'm thinking that this was a design that owners decided they just wanted one bedroom and a game room. But you can ask about that stuff, and if it is existing, it would probably be appreciated that we're able to track it. So instead of just deleting it, we put it in the existing phase and phase it out, demolish it. I'm not going to save this because it just wrecked that. Does that make sense though?
It does make sense.
Okay, cool. This is saved under the price renovation. Under I think draft PDFs. Renovations, price, draft PDFs. Yep. Red lines for Courtney.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, go away. Why? What? When you're done with that, Courtney, go ahead and print it. Thank you. Ooh. Where were we? I think we were doing standard plan for GR. Getting the marketing plan ready. This is GR Flyer Standard, and today's date is the 7th. Huh. I wish I wouldn't do this. It's pretty frustrating. Let's see if I can get this to stop doing that. Looks like the answer is no. It's really disappointing.
question I forgot to ask on renovations. Are we mentioning from the either house or what we're renovating?
So, well, quite like to have reference, and renovation is already built. So think of it as you only need renovation contract to build what not building the entire house and house that we have. So you don't need to mention the entire house. So like only the stuff that we are adding on. Yep. Why are no elevations shown? I think this is pretty close to done here. So these dimensions get a little tough to read around here, but I think the contractor worth their weight will be able to decipher this. That's a little close. Alright, so I think I need to kind of switch this up a little bit. There's brick seal. Whoop. Brick header. I mean, I think. Well, that doesn't even need to be there. I think I'm going to bring this out here. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Sure. All right. All right. Oh. See if we can make this pop just a little bit. Its elevation's a little pizzazz. There we go. Just that one. We don't need to do it on the other ones, I don't think. Oh, we need to change this. Let's see, this is right elevation, and this is left elevation. I'm really confused about what's going on here. Sometimes these work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes none of them work. But every time, it's just a matter of a little bit of work. Fix it. It's just a little frustrating because you have to fix it, and you have to check for it. One of those little quirks of mirroring projects that I wish didn't exist. I think we're good on this. Print that bad boy. Print it, print it, print it. This is GR. Right. Just gonna leave this like this. Or to call it Grace Premiere. Nothing changes there. This changes to Premiere. Right. gonna have to reprint that. That's ugly. Oh, I see. It was actually okay. Alright, it was just this. It got ugly. Yeah, that's fine. What is this? Ah. Okay. So I am going to need to go in here and put the mirror. The correct there it is. All right, let's do this. No, just do it the easy way. So Did I get the electrical swapped? I did not. I need to redo. Electrical on standard. Is this supposed to be a 9-foot ceiling all the way through? Hmm. Some of this just doesn't make any sense. What? Alright. That's what we'll do. It's ugly, but that's what we'll do. Whatever. Unhide elements. I'll change it to unhide. I wonder. I wonder if I can do this. X. I think text black, fill color, and color black. Line fit C. Ceiling. It needs to be like 10, 6. Take. Yeah, that works. And then can I? Here, can I flatten document? Flatten markups. And then on the elevations, I just need to hide this. That's much better than just reprinting. Except that I keep having to tell it the same thing over and over again. Now it should show no markups. Alright. Okie dokie. I think that's that for that. Nope. Electrical Premiere. There we go. Huh. Sure, let's save. I mean, I've been working on it for an hour. Yep. Just in time for lunch. I think after this I'm going to be wrapping up for a lunch break. And we'll be doing some lunch. And be coming back to work on, hopefully, office building red lines. And maybe I'll find on. That'd be nice. Save. Looks like all the other lights are wired properly. Oh man, I didn't put my streaming information up today. What's up, John? Must definitely be time for lunch if you're showing up. Make sure everything is here. Alright. So then I'm just going to put this other one back on here. And just a quick look. Yikes. So I jacked up in here, it wasn't. Okay. And let's reprint this sheet. Current window. And that is 2GR electrical replacement. Looks good from here. What? Oh. Oh my goodness, save already. Jeez. Alright. And we send our email. New email. Christopher, Andrea, Courtney, Grace GR, updated set and flyers. Team, below I have included a link to the updated Grace GR standard and Premiere model sets and flyers. Please review and let us know if we have any questions or changes to be made. Thanks. Have a great day. Stay warm. Hey. Or okay, that's right. Alrighty. Got something done today. Hopefully this is wrapping this one up. Give us time to do some other stuff. Oh man. So I think when we come back, we're going to do some quick markups on. Let's see here, it's not open. Is it in my list still? Godwin Building 3. We'll probably do some red lines on the office building, and also we'll probably do some red lines on the Texas Country Craftsman that we were working on as well, because we're finishing up the documentation for that. So we'll be wrapping those things up, and I'm also going to be spending a little bit of time setting up a projector here in the office. See if I can get it working for the MLS final this weekend. That'll be fun. In the meantime, I hope your lunch is as wonderful as mine. And I'll see you when I get back.
You turn your nose up whenever I'm acting the same. The way I move is oh so smooth and cool. I know you want to hold me, cool cat.
Anybody out there remember the name Seatbelts? They were a Maximal band from 30 years ago.